Joe, you arguably played on the greatest college football team I've ever seen. It was like 15 NFL guys. Now that you've pivoted to the NFL, I grew up first as a kid as a college football fan. And then now, my business, it's 70-30, 80-20 NFL. On Saturdays, because you guys travel on Fridays, I think. So on Saturdays, do you still go old school and watch college football games and check out the SEC and the Big Ten? Because I'll always be drawn to it, Joe, my entire life. I'm 9 years old. Remember sitting there watching the Huskies and Don James when I'm in high school. What are your Saturdays like before a game?
Yeah, we have meetings a lot of the day, or we're traveling. And so I'll throw on a game if I can. And like you, I grew up, I didn't watch the NFL. I was a college football fan. So I'll watch LSU. They usually have a night game that I can watch. Ohio State, I try to, but I don't get to watch as much as I probably would like to.
Yeah, it was funny. I talked to Urban Meyer once before he took an NFL job, and he told me, he goes, I've never watched football on Sundays. And I'm like, Urban, you may not want to take that job and make it up on the fly because it's really, really hard. Is there anything about pro football? Like, I've always thought the college football pass interference rule is much better than the NFL pass interference rule. But if I trip you, it could be a 58-yard penalty. I think that's insane. That's the part of, I don't like the college football overtime much, but is there part of college football you actually thought was smarter from like an organizational management standpoint than pro football?
Nope, I don't think so. I think I hate the targeting rule. I don't think anybody should get kicked out of the game for a play that's made in the moment. I think the NFL is just a superior product.
Yeah. So I made this comment the other day on the air. I said, I'm going to give you 3 quarterbacks. They're all really good. Burrow, Stafford, Brady. They all have something in common. They all miss practice because of different reasons. 2 of them surgeries or physical stuff. 1 of them a family issue. They didn't play in the preseason. And all 3 of them had changes on the offensive line. And I said, there's no way you can say in week 1 they're going to have it together. Brady scrapped, Stafford scrapped, and your guy's offense scrapped. I thought in the second half against Dallas, I was like, oh, okay, here it goes. I honestly felt like, as a viewer, I thought the light came on, you felt more comfortable. That was as a consumer, that's what I saw. Did that happen? Because I felt you were so much more comfortable for the first half of football this year. I was like, okay, that's Joe Burrow. That's the offense. That works.
Yeah, that was, we got the quick game going a little bit. We had a 21 play drive in there. So we kind of wore them down. Offensive line was playing great. We were completing balls, moving the ball down the field, running for first downs. And so I thought the second half, we really picked it up. First half, we just got behind the chains so much. We were 1st and 15 3 times, and 1st and 15 in the NFL, it's going to be really hard to get a first down. So we got to eliminate those penalties, stay on track, stay in front of the chains, and then we're not going to get all these third down exotic stunts from the defensive lines that we're playing. The defensive linemen are too good in this league to go 1st and 15, 2nd and 10, and then they're just teeing off like it's third down. You can't play that way. And so that's not a recipe for success. So we just got to eliminate that, and I think we'll be fine.
I remember Mahomes' 3rd year in the league, or maybe it was last year. People said, okay, there's a way to defend him. Don't give him anything over the top. Make him be patient. And now I'm hearing it with Joe Burrow. Joe, he wants to go, because you let it rip, which is my kind of quarterback. And I hear this, he's going to have to learn to be patient. And my takeaway is, there's an offensive line thing he's kind of working through right now and a lack of repetition with his guys. When you hear that, somebody says, oh, there's a way to defend Burrow. Make him be patient. How does that land for you?
Well, my rookie year, it was the exact opposite. We couldn't hit any throws down the field, and so teams were challenging us, and it was make him throw over the top. And then after last year, it was make him be patient. And so I think we've done a great job of adjusting to what defenses are giving us. And this year, they're trying to take the deep ball away from us because we had so much success last year. And so we got to find ways to find explosive plays, run after the catch without getting those big one-on-one opportunities, because we're just not going to get as many because our receivers are are so good at what they do. And so we're going to have to innovate ways to find those explosive plays. But in the meantime, we're just going to have to take what the defense gives us, run the ball well, and find more points.
What is happening this week at practice?
So we haven't had our first practice this week yet. Yesterday was we come and watch the film, lift, make our corrections, and then today's the off day where everyone, gets a head start on the Jets. And so tomorrow is our first week of our first day of practice. And so I think everyone's excited to get back at it. It's only 2 weeks, obviously not where we want to be at, nowhere near our standard, but we got 15 weeks of football left. A lot of football to be played.
Well, Joe, I think people forget, if you watch a movie and the last 15 minutes of the movie are great, that's all you remember. You could watch an average movie, but if it has a great ending, everybody's like, oh, that's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Nobody walks laughing out of a theater and says it was an average movie. People forget last year. Go back to, I talked about this on the air. I'm like, the Bengals had a great ending to the season, but like week 10, let's go back to week 10. You guys were trying to kind of find yourself, if I remember.
Yeah, I think our bye week was week 10, and we had just lost the Jets on the road and got blown out by the Browns at home. And I think I was on your show that week. Unfortunately, I don't think we've got to talk after a win yet. Hopefully that'll come this week. But that was, we lost 2 games in a row several times last year. At one point on a 6-game stretch, we were 2-4. And so, we just got to find ways to be more consistent. And whether that's running the ball better, me taking care of the football better, getting the ball out faster, finding more completions, we just got to figure out, a way to do that. Nobody's panicking. We feel the urgency of the 2 losses, but we're just taking it 1 week at a time. If we go out there and take care of business this week, where I think we'll be on a roll.
They always say you can lose games, you can't lose a locker room. You guys are really, really young. You lose 3 in a row, I get it. There's a feel of desperation. What's the level of intensity this week? I mean, because let's be honest. I've said this before. The Rams are not playing good football. I just trust their people. You guys right now, there are teams that are 0-2, like Tennessee, and I just don't think they have the weapons. I think I just see them struggling. I look at you and the Rams, and I think they got to get their own lines figured out. The quarterbacks didn't play in the preseason. I see moments. I saw a first half of the Rams this week. I was like, wow. I saw the second half with you guys. I went, yeah, they're fine. They just got to get this shit figured out. But the reality is, Joe, you're 0-2. And this league is just brutal statistically to 0-3. Do you forecast an incredibly intense week?
Yeah, we got to go out and have a great week of practice. An intense week of preparation that will lead us into a victory on Sunday. I don't think it'll be any different execution-wise in practice, but we might feel that urgency a little bit. We're 0-2, not where we want to be. But like I said earlier, 15 games left, 16 weeks left, a lot of football to be played. I think, the biggest thing for us is starting off faster. Week 1, pick 6, fumble recovery in the first quarter. We give them 10 points immediately. Now we're playing from behind. Now we're facing third down defenses, prevent defenses, keeping it in front. Same thing last week, 1st and 15, 1st and 15, 1st and 15. They start out strong, 2 touchdowns in a row. And then we're behind 14 points, 17-3 at half. Now we're playing prevent defense, third down defenses. And so we got to start faster so we can stick to our game plan, run the ball, play action, take our shots when they're there. And, more of those shots will open up down the field if we start faster and we're not playing from behind.
Again, you're from LSU, so you played with NFL guys when you were 17, 18 years old. Same with Ohio State. I think I'm not sure if you were on the team with Chase Young, but Jamar Chase, right? So you play Micah Parsons. I commented during the game, it's like watching John Morant in football. Like, he has 6 moves. I'm like, holy God, this isn't like anything. When you know there's a Hall of Fame level, when you're watching him, a Von Miller or a Micah Parsons, I mean, was he a little better in person than you thought? Take me through like playing somebody and that's arguably the best player on the football field.
I wouldn't say he was better in person because I saw him on film and knew exactly what he was going to be. He's unbelievably big, strong, and fast player that is not one dimensional. There's a lot of good pass rushers in this league, but not a lot of guys like him that they can move around from 3 technique to edge rusher to off the ball linebacker blitzing and getting matchups on a running back. So they can just move him around and do a lot of different things with him because he's so versatile. And I'm excited to watch him keep playing because he's going to keep getting better and better. He's a young guy who's already one of the best in the league, and I'm excited to keep watching him.
All right, so you told us last week that you bruise like a peach. You're taking a beating. So you wake up Monday morning. What does it feel like at your young age?
I actually felt great this week. I think diet has a lot to do with it. Back when I was at LSU, eating po' boys and gumbo all the time, maybe the inflammation in your body's a little higher than it is when you're eating a little healthier. So, the last 2 years, I've really, focused on that and got that inflammation out of my body post game, and that's really helped with the soreness after that, and it allowed me to have better weeks of practice and maintain my body throughout the year.
By the way, I didn't know this either. Tomatoes cause inflammation. Spicy food. I got rid of tomatoes and spicy food, not because I get hit, but yeah. I had a nutritionist, and she said I had a little joint soreness because I was playing tennis, and she went down my diet, and she's like, God, you just live on tomatoes. Yeah. You're all into spicy food, and I'm like, it's awesome. I thought it revved your body up. She said your inflammation issues are going to be awful. So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's all individualized too. So everyone has different ingredients or foods that their body reacts to differently, and you can take this blood test that they go through hundreds and hundreds of different foods, see how your body reacts to it, and for every person it's different. Like corn was very reactive for me, and so I try to eat as little corn as possible. Corn is in everything these days, so can't cut it completely out, but there's a lot of little things like that you don't really think about that have helped my body.
Joe, one of the things you've done, I like it, but not, I've always been like, I like athletes who have an opinion on social issues. I'm good with it. I don't think Tiger Woods had to have opinions on it. I don't think we should force people to say things they don't want to say. But if athletes go that way, I'm all for it. And you live in a very conservative part of the country, Ohio, and you don't have a problem having an opinion on social issues. You're obviously pretty fearless in that space. And you're going to eventually have big advertisers coming in. Just how do you reconcile all of it? Like, what goes through your head when we have a social issue, a cultural issue? What's going through your head?
Well, my initial thought for everything is to try to figure out my own thoughts on it, because I don't think there's one way to look at everything, and I have to, take in all the information and make my own decision on it. I'm a young guy who's, trying to figure out my thoughts on the world every now and then. And if somebody asks me a question on it, I'm going to answer honestly. I'm not going to try to dodge a question. I try to have a great relationship with the media, and so I want to answer as many questions as honestly as I can. And if I feel strongly about something, I'm not afraid to speak my mind on it, but I'm also not afraid to say that I don't have an opinion on it, that I haven't really studied it, and I don't really have all the facts on it. So I'm not afraid to go either way, but I think these days everything is so polarizing that I think people that speak out can kind of bring people together in a way.
Yeah, it used to be, I'm in my 50s. When I was in my 20s, you could literally say, boy, it's hot. It's been hot this summer. And there'll be no argument. Now, if you say that, it's like, oh, you think there's climate change. Oh, you're one of these global warming. And it's like, no, I just think it's hot. It's June. I'm over the summer. I was in Turks and Caicos. It's just way too hot for me. I can't take July there. And it is weird. Like, parts of me wish I was in my 20s. Like the ability, my son's into tech, and I'm like, God, he's so much smarter than I am. He's so good with this stuff. He could be a hacker if he wanted to. I mean, he's got coding, and I'm like, I was playing Atari at a bowling alley. Like, that's what we had. We didn't have anything. And then there's parts of being young, and I think, oh my God, what would I have done on social media? Jesus, I would have been disaster. Are there ever times you're like, I'm putting down the phone?
Yeah, I don't have any social media throughout the week. I really not a lot during the season. If I feel like I need a break from it, I delete it all from my phone. It can be kind of overwhelming when you're in the position that I'm in. Everyone can kind of get a little piece of you here and there, and I'm a private person that I don't like to share very much. And so I try to keep my social media as professional as I can, whether it's pictures walking into games on the field. Try to keep my family out of it, because there's a lot of bad that comes with all that, and there's so much spotlight and so little privacy these days that you try to grab and take any privacy that you can. And so I don't have any social media right now on my phone. If I feel like I need to post something, I'll go on there and post it, delete it again. But I don't like to be on there too much.
I'm the same. I have my staff run a lot of mine. My kids different generationally, but family's different. My wife's not on it at all. So my daughter sat next to your parents. Your mom said she was incredibly sweet at the Baltimore Ravens game.
Yeah.
And I always think, God, how would my mom have handled all the criticism I get, right? How do your parents deal with it, especially moms?
Yeah, that's we haven't really talked about that much. Fortunately, for the most part, things that have been said about me have been in a positive light. Obviously, there's a lot of negativity out there, but and then with the start that we're off to, there's also a lot of negativity. So I think that they are starting to feel the effects of that. We haven't really talked about it much, but I mean, it's hard not to. I would imagine that they do, but we don't really talk about that much.
Yeah, my mom came to me before she passed away one time, and she said, she had a friend who was kind of a gossip, but a funny lady named Norma. And she said, Norma tells me you're very controversial. I'm like, no, I'm not controversial. I'm like, I have opinions. I'm not controversial. I said, if you're brutally honest, it ticks people off. So
Yeah.
my mom was, this is terrible. I'm like, Mom, get off Google. It's not built for 72-year-olds. Like, get off Google. Joe, it was so brutal. I wonder if you'll get to a point where, Mom, just get off it. Stop it.
Yeah, I definitely have had to tell my dad that a couple times. Just especially early on, mainly at LSU, when everything was starting to ramp up a little bit. He was like, "Oh, did you see this article? This article?" I was like, "No, Dad, I don't really like to look at that stuff." He's like, "Okay, I get it." And so he kind of, they get it. And this has been 3 years now in the spotlight, and so my friends and family understand the position that I'm in, and now that they are in as well, and they are adjusted to it just as well as I am.
Do you still have high school or college buddies, like non-football buddies, like still hang with them?
Oh yeah, those are really my best friends that I continue to hang out with these days. Obviously, you make new friends through football, but it's just kind of hard to make new friends in the position that I'm in that don't really understand what this life is about. And so, my friends from high school and college, they watched me grow up and know me from before I was the person that I am now in everybody else's eyes. And I'm still the same person to them. And so it's so easy to go back to Athens, Ohio, and hang out with all the friends that I hung out with when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, just because, they understand it, they get it, they know who I am truly deep down. And, that's what I love about those guys.
Yeah, I say my it's like a parking garage. I just don't have any openings. There's no openings in my parking garage. All the spaces are full.
Yeah.
Most of my friends all get it. I have one high school friend, two college, and then buddies through my career. The only thing that's hard to describe to people, for me as a public figure, is my time. Everything has to be like my calendar every day is like 8 things. Yours has to be double that, right?
Yeah, the main thing is like if I'm trying to hang out with a friend that I haven't seen for a while, it's like, hey, do you want to go get some dinner? And it's like, yeah, I would love to, but where are we going to go? We got to get this private table. I don't want to get bothered. I would like to sit down and actually have an interaction and conversation with you without having to, cater to these other people. So usually we just end up getting takeout and eating at my house and watching a movie or something. And so that's kind of what my world has turned into.
Totally. Cincinnati, I mean, I would think people in Cincinnati are mostly respectful of your space. Like the Midwestern ethos, be a gentleman, be a good person. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know Cincinnati.
Yeah, for the most part, people in Ohio, if I decide to go out, they'll wait to come and ask for a picture until I'm done eating. If I'm with my friends or my family, usually people in Ohio are extremely respectful in that regard. When you go outside of Ohio is kind of when it gets a little crazy, because I guess I don't know. Maybe people just in Ohio feel they know it's my home. They know I'm from here. They understand that we have shared values, and the dinner table is a shared value. And then when you go somewhere else, maybe it's just different. I don't know. It's interesting.
No, you know what I think it is? They protect you in Cincinnati. Yeah. They feel like you're a big part of their community, and they're protecting you. So the last thing they ever want is for you to feel like, this is a small town. I'm Joe Burrow. Yeah. I think there's a lot of that where they're protecting you. It's like the ultimate sign of respect is don't bother our guy. That's my guess on what it is.
You're probably right. And that's a big reason why I love being here, is because the fans here are great. People here are great. They get it. I'm from Ohio. They're from Ohio. We all understand each other. And when you grow up in the same area, you all have a unique understanding of how you operate.
All right, buddy. Go get a win. Beat the Jets. Appreciate it. Joe Burrow. I love doing this on Tuesday. We have to talk after a win. We've talked 3 times. L's. I'm at this point.
On all 3 of them.
I got it. I don't want to become a bad luck charm. So go get a W.
Yeah, we need it. We need it bad. So hopefully next week we're talking under different circumstances.